First I'm going to remove my caliper bolts, and these are 14mm socket, and there's just two of them, one on top and one on bottom. And these just hold the caliper, the two moving parts of the caliper together. I'm going to go ahead and try to compress this while it's on here. And if you can get a screwdriver between your caliper and your rotor, you can kind of compress your piston. Of course, you wouldn't want to do this if you're going to try to reuse your rotor. And this little bolt holds the brake line. You don't have to take this off, it just makes it a little easier to get your caliper up out of the way. And this is a 12 millimeter. Now I should be able to slide this off. Yep, comes right off. I'm gonna set it up in here. So next you have to take the body of the caliper off. And this is a 17 millimeter. And kind of need an extension to get around this big bolt here. And I'll see if I can do it. Oh, I think I'm gonna need my breaker bar. And you just want to make sure these caliper pins move freely, which these look pretty good, but I'm going to go ahead and put some grease on them before I put it back together. And then you can pull this main body of the caliper off. So you can see my caliper's worn really uneven, and in this case my caliper was sticking, which was causing my rotor to overheat. It wasn't actually my caliper, but my pad was sticking, which was causing my rotor to overheat, which was causing my car to shake. So it's kind of good that I see that so I can fix it. But I'm just going to go ahead and lube these caliper pins before I get everything back together here. And this is the disc brake lubricant that you get at your Advance Auto. They sell it right up at the checkout. And just make sure that your boot gets sealed up as you're putting it all back together here. Most likely your rotor is not going to come off on its own will, and you're going to need to use these jacking screws here, which these are metric. And I don't know the thread size, it's just something I had laying around, but it's a 13 millimeter head. You can see it's kind of pulling the rotor off. and it's free. So I'm going to clean up this rusty caliper here. Just be careful you don't mess up your rubber dust boots here on the caliper pins. So hopefully this grease will help prevent another pad from sticking. So make sure you get these bolts really tight. It's probably a torque spec. I don't know, so I'm just gonna get as tight as I can get it with by hand here. And I'm just gonna stick my pad in. And make sure that the pad is oriented so that it follows the curve of the rotor. Alright, I pushed my pistons back already. I just put my old brake pad on it and clamped them. And because my reservoir is open, it was pretty easy to push those back in. And then I've just placed my pads on and put a little bit of brake grease behind them. And then before you put this on, just make sure that your pins, your caliper pins, are oriented sideways so the flats are on top and bottom, because it sets against a little flat on here. So I'm going to stick this on. And just hang your cable or your line. And now you're just going to put your tire back on and make sure you put the cap back on your reservoir and pump up your brakes.